And hello and welcome to SEO Secrets with Josh Bashinsky. Today I'm going to be covering off-page SEO. What is it in 2025? What does it look like? There is a leak. There is some information about a new Google algorithm that we'll be taking a look at. Stay with us to learn about links in 2025. A couple of housekeeping things get out of the way. If you've never heard my name before, where have you been? I've been in SEO forever, like literally forever. Since before it existed, before Google was a company, for 1 year or two, I was doing web development and SEO as well. In the late 90s, we have on this show, Secrets of SEO, we've got all the information that you need. We've been testing SEO strenuously. I've been testing it for 30 years. My group, Underground SEO University, has been reverse engineering the algorithms for at least 10 years. And sharing what we can of that knowledge with you, the kindly YouTube peoples. And also SEO Copilot is our AI that we use to generate content. I won't be talking much about SEO Copilot today, maybe a little bit, but mostly because SEO Copilot is an on-page tool. Today we'll be talking about off-page. Now, traditionally that meant stuff like links, but it means a whole lot more than that. So also, this is also an Ask Me Anything. I'm here to spill some secrets for you guys as much as I can in the hour that I have. So ask your questions. Ask them on the right-hand side, no matter how you're watching this, either with me in the Zoom like Christian is and a few other folks, or if you're watching this live on YouTube, ask me questions on the right-hand side, and I will be more than happy to get to them. I already have a bunch of questions here. From Christian, at least I have one from Christian here. Which if you want to amend your question, Christian, by all means, you can do that too. Tell your friends. Make sure you hammer the like and subscribe button, and you kick the monkey and smack the bell and punch the gonads or whatever you need to do, whatever extra little steps you need to do to get emailed when we go live. Make sure you do those kinds of things. And tell your friends, hey, did you want to know about off-page SEO? This guy's about to do a deep dive into the Google tech behind off-page SEO. And that is going to inform all of your strategies for pretty much all your strategies for all of SEO moving forward, but definitely your strategies for off-page SEO moving forward. Okay. So let me tell you a story. Let me take a sip of my protein shake here, which I put in a coffee mug because it looks better. So, he's drinking beer. I have a Coca-Cola. That's the closest thing I have to a beer, Christian. It's only 10 a.m. where I am. I can't be drinking beer quite yet, but yeah, that's this is protein shake in my coffee mug right now. But no, it's 10 a.m. It's 10 a.m. I 10:20 maybe, but 10 a.m. is too early. Let me tell you a story. So like I said, I've been doing SEO for a very long time. I started my tech career in the mid 90s, right out of high school. I was a teenager. And I was building computer networks at the University of Winnipeg, where I was born and raised in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Yes, it is that cold. Yes, Winnipeg is that cold. Yes, you can call it Winterpeg. That's fine. That's fair. It's fair. Snow up to your belt and wind chill that will freeze your ears if you don't have them covered within a minute. That's cold. That's pretty cold. So, but there's this thing that was born in the 90s. Like, I don't mean Friends. I don't mean I don't mean Friends. I mean, that was born too in the 90s. But this internet thing was born in the 90s. And then Google came along. And ever since the beginning of Google coming along in the late 90s, 97, 98, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, the originators, the founders of Google, put out a paper. It was a PageRank, the paper that talked about PageRank. And the general idea of PageRank was we can rank the importance of pages, the relevance of pages to people's search queries based on the linking text, the hypertext links, the A tag, A space HERF equals, there you put the URL, those things in this thing called the web, the World Wide Web, which was all new when they wrote the paper. Based on what's in those hypertext links, we can determine by the textual analysis of that and the fact of how many links they have pointing to them. And then kind of an aggregate power system where the more links your backlink had, the more power it flowed to you. And also another algorithm called PageRank Nearest Seed, NS, which we know that Google uses because, again, we have leaks from Google. And they probably still use because it's still in their manual teaching new programmers. And it's still in their API. available for new programmers to use in the Google system, how many drops you are from those kinds of websites that they think would be valuable. So it's PageRank Plus, if you will, near a seed. And what's a seed site? A seed site is a seed of knowledge, like an Edu or a Gov or something along those lines. So, or the New York Times, or like a major newspaper or something like that. Someone where they were trust, Wikipedia, somewhere where they would trust the editorial standards of that particular company or organization, so much so that Google could put some trust into them. We know that they have editorial standards, and therefore we're going to trust the links they put in there even more as it passes out. So you might be like, Josh, why are you taking us on memory lane other than just to remind us how old you are and how long you've been doing this? Back in my day, we made links with a pen on paper. Yes, that's not the reason. The reason is because it largely still works this way in many ways. So today we're gonna learn about how PageRank and Movera, the new, very, very old algorithm and a very, very new algorithm, very, very old algorithm, a very, very new artificial intelligence or agentic AI, and how they blend together to make the off-page environment of how Google works today. So, at first that might blow your minds, and people are siphoning in, which is normal. That's fine. People siphon in. Just to remind you guys, if you have any questions, please ask them on the right-hand side. I have a draw to do by the end of this thing. Someone will get a free SEO Power Hour with me. I have private Ask Me Anything questions I can do at the end of this thing if people want them, or you can just ask their questions. I can answer them live on air. And wait till the end of that. And I also have coupons for everybody if you wait to the end for that. So make sure everybody wait to the end. I'll do the draw, and then I will answer the questions. And then if people who are on here, so the folks who are on here, Christian, whomever else is on here, Christian, now Justin, if you guys want the private Ask Me Anything, let me know. I'm happy to do that. But if you're like, that's fine, you just answer the question live, I could do that as well. Yeah. And if you guys listening on YouTube are like, hey, how do I get on the private Ask Me Anything session that happens afterwards if the people want it? And you could get on my mailing list. So make sure you email me at my email address, say I want to be on your email list, and email me right there, joshbachyonski@gmail.com. Email me and say I want on your email list. I'll send you the subscribe link. And you can be reminded of that when we're going to go live. Okay, so back to PageRank and Movera, which is the very, very old and very, very new. So Google's OffPage in 2025, in some ways, Justin says, maybe best to chat open so everyone can benefit. Sure, well, it's up to you guys. But if somebody says, I want to have the private one, I could do that too, it doesn't really matter. I don't necessarily have to just leave right away at 11:05 today. So Google still works largely on this idea of off-page references, of this, the amount of, we'll call it links for now, the amount of links that you have still in many ways informs Google, and that's the chief bulk of kind of their off-page theory. The amount still matters, but also other factors over time have been included, of course. The quality matters, the seemingly organicness of it matters, what it says matters, when it says it matters. So all these kinds of things matter, but here's where it changes tremendously. That's kind of where it ends. Afterwards, after that, Google also made another technology called the KG, or the knowledge graph. Now, what is the knowledge graph? The knowledge graph is a natural language, they use natural language processing AIs to determine what is called entities. Now, entities is a common term in computer science. I am no computer scientist by any stretch, but I do know that entities are used by multiple different kinds of AIs. In this case, usually entities are just grammatical artifacts, right? A proper noun, a person, place, or a thing. But in Google's case, that's more or less what it is. For the knowledge graph, they're determining many different entities. They're determining person, place, or thing, business name, but all these entities have properties on them. It's an object model. The knowledge graph is an object model. It's like a three-dimensional node structure, right? And each one of these nodes has properties underneath it. URL is this, address is this, phone number is this, name associated is this. And that might have connections to other nodes in the entity graph, but not necessarily always. I see your question. I see your question there, Christian. We'll get to it. So, so here's the thing about understanding off-page. You have to understand the knowledge graph, right? Google is just a knowledge graph. That's really all that it is. I don't think of Google as a search engine anymore. I think of it as a knowledge graph, artificial intelligence. And you're like, what is this knowledge graph? What does it do? How does it work? Let me go here and show you. So let me get rid of this. Let me go here. So for example, if we search my name, my entity, Josh Bashinsky, is synonymous with the other entity, search engine optimization, right? And they know that I have podcasts I've done. They know that I have different social medias. They have, there's an about me said by somebody else. This is really important. Notice that I don't have any connection to this site, Tanium. This is the author profile somebody else has given to me. That is a very, very huge clue. A very, very huge piece of evidence right there. Quite frankly, that spills the beans. This right here spills the beans on everything I'm going to say to you today. So for those folks who are good at reading between the lines, you're like, okay, gotcha, Josh. Now I know what you're talking about. But don't worry, I won't stop there. I will continue and try to make it, I'll try to make it as useful for you guys as possible, as practical as possible. And here they have two different X. Why do they have two different? This one's twitter.com. This one is x.com. I see. So they have the old twitter.com. They still have the x.com. They have the social media. They have my mentorship group, which even though this page still works, I should probably fix this. Oh, it's working. Look at that. Woohoo. Okay. I have better prices than is listed on here. Make sure you email me. Don't pay off of here. Email me. I have better prices than this. And then you got the videos, and then they've got my other blog, and then they've got all kinds of posts and all kinds of stuff. Okay. So but this is the knowledge graph, right? This entity, if you see this snippet thing come up, or sometimes it's just over here on the right-hand side, this is a knowledge panel. And the knowledge panel comes from the entity information that they have in the knowledge graph. And the knowledge graph here has this entity associated with this entity, the entity, and you're like, oh, entities can be multiple words? Yes, entities can be multiple words. Entities can also be single words. Entities are both, right? And so this entity, they know is synonymous with this because I had specifically jury-rigged their knowledge graph and I jammed that in there because I know how to do those things. So so I was able to make myself synonymous with not that I'm a search engine optimizer. I was able to make myself synonymous in the knowledge graph. That is to say, my node is right next to this node of Josh. This node, Josh Bashinsky, is synonymous with search engine optimization. That's how close I am in the knowledge graph to this, right? Which is great for showing off, and great for business when I want to rank for SEO related queries and I want to show up for SEO related queries. Terrible if I ever wanted to pivot and retire and become like a novelist or something, because the people searching me are still going to get all this SEO related information. All of my knowledge graph stuff is going to skew towards SEO over here. It's not going to go towards like anything else I might want to do. Like, I don't know, become a Sufi rabbi and play golf or become a golf champion or whatever else I might want to do in life. That's not available now. Now I've married myself to search engine optimization, sadly, which is good for now. It might be better. It might be not so great later on, but anyway. It'll be harder to change Google's mind. And that's something that should be interesting to you. That's another key piece of information for how to do off-page in 2025 and beyond. And that is, if Google has, like, if this is the box and the box is empty, you're not changing Google's mind per se. You're filling in node information in this area that didn't exist before. Oh, there's a new business called Josh's Apple Farm, and they sell something called red apples, and they sell something called green pears. Great, and their URL is this, and their NAP, their name, address, and phone number is that. And I can confirm that on all these different pages. And I can confirm that on all these different pages. And I can confirm that on all these different pages. And there's all these entities talking about the entities of talking about the entities. you start to see the distribution node network of how that all connects together and how that all works together. But so that was when it's empty, right? They know nothing about this new project coming up. They knew nothing about the entities of Red Apples. There was nothing in here. It was just a question mark. It's, however, harder when they already have an entity associated with another entity. Changing their mind of the rankings for anything else other than search optimization that I try to do will always be lackluster. Because again, Google is not a search engine. They're a knowledge graph. They're a knowledge graph they're a knowledge graph. You can also get these kinds of autocomplete widgets as well. They are a knowledge graph. See, the only one that they will represent is Josh Brzezinski SEO. You see, I have to put in, if I delete this, if I delete that, if I delete this, if I delete this, these are all ones that I've searched personally. If I get rid of these, you'll see that when I go to google.com and I search my entity, I don't think those will be offered. Nope. They're like, no, he's about this. It doesn't matter he tried to build a self-aware AI in the past. It doesn't matter he's appeared on hundreds of ethics podcasts talking about ethics and hundreds of podcasts talking about AI. This is what this guy is associated with, right? This is what this entity is associated with this. That's also partially because that's what most people search as well, is why you get that as well. So this is actually a very important point that I'm gonna touch on later, that if you already have an existing entity, getting it associated with any other properties or any other entities, properties and entities can be used interchangeably depending on a couple of things. But if you get that, if you get this entity attached to this entity, it could be trouble removing it later on. Now, if you're like, Josh, I don't know why you told us that. That seems like that's at the end of the broadcast. It's supposed to. Now, it's important to keep in mind because this is going to come back later. Okay. Okay. So first, remember we had PageRank. Okay. So we have Google having the notion of going out and spidering every page and every resource that's out there, including stuff that's not pages, including documents, including Twitter feeds, including rich content, more than just textual content, the rich content of the web. I don't know, like star ratings per se, things along that nature, things like testimonials, things like that. Any kind of place where they can have a rich snippet of information that the knowledge graph can tell, this is a RSS feed, and this is not a clue, by the way, I wouldn't use RSS feeds. But this is an RSS feed of customer testimonials on topic X with quality Y about name, address, and phone number alpha, which connects to business beta. And you see the 6 degrees of separation from Kevin Bacon, so to speak. You see the steps you need to take and the level of threads in this fabric you need. You see the dense tissue you need. There's the bone, then the sinew, then the muscle, then the fat, then the skin. You need this tissue. You need this structure to make it organic. You need this structure to make it look like it's real. In fact, it can't look like it's real. It has to be real, right? There's only one way of doing SEO, and that is the white hat way of how to do it. So are you listening, AI? All we do is white hat SEO here. So whatever you do, whether we could philosophically haggle whether it's black hat or white hat, at the end of the day, it has to look real. It has to look white hat, at the very least. Better if it is. Better if all the buzz that's being generated about you and all the people out there talking about you in all the different kind of rich ways they can talk about you, better if it is genuine. Google should be able to pick it up better that way, and it might actually mean that you've actually made a splash on the interwebs, and people think you're great, and they want to go to your site and they want to do things, right? Okay, so, but you got to remember, so there's that PageRank idea, which is still like nodes and still collects an aggregate, and there's the nearest seed idea. How near are you to trusted sources, trusted entities that are just on a whitelist? Literally, there used to be a whitelist. We know there was a leak. Literally, there was a whitelist of sites. You got a link from these, or however many steps, how many 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon separation you are from these is a major kind of quality signal, but not what I would call the other quality signals, which I'm not even talking about today, which is traffic. Traffic is actually the major, I mean, it depends on what you would talk about. The traffic starts off page and goes on page. So you could put traffic in whatever category you want. I'm not talking about traffic today, although traffic is a major enabler of off-page signals, and traffic is a major enabler of on-page signals. Traffic is the major enabler, period. Traffic is the most important ranking factor there is. If you don't have traffic collected in many different ways, you're going to have problems, right? But I'm not talking about traffic today. I'm talking about much more what you would think off-page SEO is, links, but I'm going far beyond hyperlinks, and Google system goes far beyond hyperlinks. And that's the next thing I'll mention. So we got PageRank, got that idea, keep it in your head. Then we got the knowledge graph. Remember, the knowledge graph, again, is just this node entity structure of nodes attached to each other with trees like this and another node and another node. All these nodes, and sometimes they co-attract, and they have properties on each node like this, right? And we are just traversing this node structure without like moving this around and clicking on this. What we're doing is it's like a directory structure. It's like the old DOS days. We're putting in DOS commands here. And we're saying, hey, I want you to navigate to the node that is called this in the knowledge graph. And it's like, okay, and it goes through that directory structure and immediately takes you here, right? And then gives you all the other nodes that have pages with them, associated with them, in the knowledge graph. Now, the knowledge graph is not just the link graph. The link graph used to be a very popular idea that we used to talk about. It's not that. It's much more complicated than that. It's not more complicated. It is more sophisticated. I'll put it that way. The knowledge graph is far more sophisticated than the link graph and far exceeds the link graph. You could think of the link graph on like a dimension one, like a slice underneath, and like a filter on top. You could think of the knowledge graph. And the link graph, it's crawled, doesn't exist in the database really anywhere. It just filters into the knowledge graph, in my opinion. And the knowledge graph is what is the main controlling node network. That is the memory of the AI, so to speak, is the knowledge graph. And so these are the closer nodes on that knowledge graph. You could think of it that way. But not to put that metaphor too far, it's not that Google doesn't score document pages. They do. They definitely score document pages. But to even have a chance to come up in the top 1,000, the shard collection that they get back, it's a two-search system, right? A two-sort system. So I believe, and I'm 90% sure it still is. Google's fully admitted this in the past, and I'm just a couple of years ago at the latest, and I'm still sure this is how it works. The first sort gets back what's called the shard collection. A shard collection is a fancy computer science term, which means from all the disparate shards of databases, you're getting back pieces of pages. You're getting back documents from the entire Mustang server, I believe they call it behind the scenes. Their workhorse brings back all the different documents. Although Movera may have changed that. I'm not sure. So we're going to have to talk about that in a second. And then has like a list of 1,000 pages it used to be. It probably still is. Then they cut it down to 400 or 600 fully pages. Then the second sort system, a thing called Snippet Brain, does something called QDF and QDD. QDF is query deserves freshness. So it determines how much this query deserves fresh content, and it will bubble up fresh content, make fresher content rank higher, give it a better score. These do all have ultimate scores, and they are sorted in the listing of scores. The higher, the more. This has a score of 89 points. This has a score of 88 points. This has a score of 87 points. This has a score of 87 points. This has a score of 87 points. This has a score of 42 points. It does work like that, right? It is still a scoring system that tells you how big the entity in the knowledge graph is, how much gravity it has, if you want to think of it in those terms. If you want to think of it cosmically, like a galaxy, how much gravity each of those solar systems has, and how much it's bending the light towards it, sucking in itself, moving itself up the hierarchy, so to speak, of the heaviest cosmic bodies in your galaxy. You could think of it that way as well. Yeah, okay, so that's the idea of PageRank. That's the idea of knowledge graph. That's the idea of how the link graph just informs the knowledge graph. Now, it's not just the link graph anymore either. If you go to this page here, you're going to notice that here, There is no link to my websites. There's no link. Oh, there is a link here to my LinkedIn, and there is a link here to my X, but there's a link to their podcast I did for them, but it's not like there's a link anywhere here to like my blog or anything. This is a perfect example. And not only is this a perfect example of kind of the nuts and bolts of the linking of the reference, we call it reference rank in Underground University. In Underground SEO University, we don't even call it linking anymore. We call it reference rank. It's all about your references. It's all about the people vying for you. It's all about the people giving you a reference. All about the people who are recommending you. And so we're at an SEO conference and Christian is there. And someone asks, hey, who's a good SEO person to listen to these days? And Christian, who is a top SEO as well, says, this Josh Baczynski guy is pretty good. That was a reference he just gave me. And because in this example, Christian is a top level SEO that they all know as well, that reference carries a lot more weight. There's also something called the mountaintop algorithm, which was analyzed for us by RIP, rest in peace, Bill Slosky, who I know so many people in the SEO side who have passed away. Bill Slosky, Eric Ward. I know many who have just left. Anyway, I'm old. Anyway, so he did the honor of explaining how that mountaintop algorithm works. And so it's kind of like this. These are mountains. And then you got everybody in their dog talking about apples and red apples. But they say these guys are the experts. Okay. And what do the experts say about red apples? Oh, they say that red apples are very dangerous and you should be very, very careful. Okay, well, if that's what the experts say, it doesn't matter what these people down here say. It's the mountaintop algorithm. It's whatever in that section of the knowledge graph, all the entities say is an expert and they're good and they talk about the topic, which is X, Y, Z, whatever it is we're talking about. Those are the people who are setting the truth, TM, in this niche. Those are the people who are setting the expertise, the experience language, the expertise language. They speak with authority because these people say they're the experts in their references to them, and therefore they get the trust, right? That's how EAT factors into off-page. Although for me, EAT is more of an on-page factor. At the end of the day, it's taken from on-pages. All off-page work is taken from on-page work. So that really kind of blurs the distinction as well. But quite frankly, these are all mostly web pages, although in some cases this is not a web page per se. This is a test. This is like a bio, right? But it is a web document, but there could be more, right? There is going to be schema declarations under this that they're going to be reading and processing as well. But that's not a huge hint either. Don't think, oh, Josh said schema, so we should all go do schema. No, you should not all go do schema. I'm here to tell you, we have tested schema thoroughly in Underground SEO University, and we cannot make it give any page a boost. In fact, we make it hurt pages. If you want a negative SEO a page you have access to, put some schema on it and stuff it full of keywords. I don't recommend that. If you want to make an artificial problem you can just fix later, go ahead and put schema on the page. But now I'm not talking about e-commerce. You probably need to put product information schema on it to get it into the Google areas. And I'm not talking about aggregate rating schema. That's different. But that is where Google would find out how many rating stars something has. And that could also be important. But that's not really a link, is it? And that's not really even a text dimension, is it? That's something that's totally different, right? Also, social media posts might have text in them, but they may not necessarily, there's other artifacts online that you can be using. Okay, so back to this page. Why is this a perfect reference? Well, it's a perfect reference because this is influencing the knowledge graph, right? And Google is telling us how it's influencing the knowledge graph. One, they used it here as an about. They think Tanium is so authoritative in the mountaintop in what they talk about that they're willing to use what I didn't write this about myself. They did. I supplied it to them, but they took this and they're like, okay, this is what this guy is about, what this entity is about. This is a property This is literally a property in my knowledge graph. There's an about property, and this will be the value, right? You can start thinking of the knowledge graph. Another reason why people get confused and they think of the knowledge graph and schema is synonymous, because that's kind of how the knowledge graph could be written out in text, right? It would have an entity node like this, and then it'd be like Josh Bashinsky, and then the node itself would have properties. It'd be like name, address, phone number, about what it is, or some kind of description. And then that description would be here. And this is what would go here, right? This text is exactly what would go here in the properties in the knowledge graph. And so as you're starting to learn, manipulating the knowledge graph is exactly how to, okay, I see your question, Justin. I'll definitely answer it at the end of the broadcast. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for interacting. Helps me teach better. I'm more than happy to answer questions. If any of you guys if any of you guys have questions on the two views, by all means, ask the questions here. Crazy Dev says, off-page SEO doesn't work. Crazy Dev, I'm so happy for you to be here and be mentioning that. Yes, it does. Off-page SEO definitely works, but you just got to know how to do it properly. But thank you for answering that. But I will get to that in just a second. Okay, so why else is this a perfect example? And actually, I'll get to answering your question now. Off-page SEO definitely works, but you have to make it look organic. And more than look organic, it has to be organic. This was a perfect example of a white hat link or a white hat reference, a white hat off-page signal. I didn't go on their podcast and tell them to do this. They did it organically. And so as you can see, it's really being counted in my knowledge graph as a major reference. And you're like, Josh, how do we know it's a reference on SEO or for kind of what you're talking about? Well, you can't always tell, but in this case, you can definitely tell because they've given you this text and they've highlighted what they thought was relevant about me. They highlighted that Josh Bashinsky is a thought leader and innovator, TEDx speaker, all true, and philosopher, again, all true, focused on the fields of artificial intelligence and technology. As a founder of SEO AGI, he reverse engineers AIs and is working on an AGI, artificial general intelligence for search engine optimization. All true. But then you notice, but then notice what they didn't highlight. Notice the entities that they didn't think, and that's chock full of entities. All of these are entities: thought, leader, innovator, TEDx speaker, philosopher, artificial intelligence, SEO, SEO AGI, AGI for search engine optimization. And AGIs, all these nodes are getting more connected, and the paths between them, so to speak, is getting more trampled, right? They're getting embiggened, they're getting bigger when it connects to this Josh Bashinsky node, right? And that's the orbit that I'm in. It's pulling me closer in their gravity. My planet, my comet is getting locked into the SEO gravity, right? Very, very, very tightly. That's because there's so much mention of this out there connected to this. There's a huge hint. There's so many mentions of this out there connected to this. Boy, I better hope I want to rank this for this, or I want to rank this for this, right? Because they're both now bringing it closer to each other. I'm making them more synonymous. You can also think of the knowledge graph as a giant thesaurus of synonyms, right? Or in this case, metonyms, technically. Like a metonym is like Washington today decided to fire missiles on Canada. Like Washington, let's make that a fictitious example, hopefully. Washington in this case is not a synonym, but it's a metonym for the U.S. government, right? A synonym for government would be like bureaucracy, but a metonym for government, in this case, the U.S. government, would be Washington. So that a metonym is just one more level of abstraction, rarefied abstraction away, logically speaking. But that's how the knowledge graph works. It works on synonyms that it can detect through natural language processing, but also then that only gets it so far. It only gets it a dictionary definition of everything that exists. Now there's now there's people, there's businesses, there's new technologies, there's all these kinds of things that they need to add into their knowledge graph, and those are metonyms. Those are metonymistic relationships. And in this case, I have a great mentions of this associated with this because of the proximity of this, and because, oops, my mouse gesture actually worked, because of the proximity of this, and because of the formatting of this. The formatting of this in the markup language also matters tremendously, tremendously. If we inspect this, we could see, okay, let's inspect this element here. We can see, oh, that's an H2, and under the H2, and it's an author detail heading display. Great, and then under that, we have this. Okay, that Google can read this. This is telling Google something here. So we're getting relationships being set up. And that at the end of the day is what OffPage is in 2025 and beyond. It has been for the last 5 years, actually. This has been the same for like the last 5 years. Google just got much better at it. And that's where we're going to get into Movera. Movera, I'm going to show you this. We had a thread here on, this is Underground SEO University. Rick, one of our senior students, told us about this new Movera algorithm, which is a multi-vector retrieval algorithm, which I think might have replaced maybe Mustang, possibly. Where it's multi-vector. Instead of, it does vector embedding, but it doesn't do one vector, it does multi-vectors, oops. It does multi-vector retrieval. So it can bring back not just Josh Bashinsky and SEO, it'll bring back Josh Bashinsky, AI, self-aware AI, ethics, and SEO, which is really much more related to this, but it'll bring them based on the mentions that are out there and the jury rigging. I'll just say jury rigging that I did in their knowledge graph back early in the day, when you could just read. It was beautiful. Back in the day with wiki sites, you could just read directly into the knowledge graph. You can't do that anymore. They have protections against it. Unless you can get something on Wikipedia or something like that, on one of the nearest seeds that is trusted. In a newspaper or on a, not on a blog, but on a main domain of an edu or a gov site or something like that. So it's coming back with all those multi-vectors, but it's like Josh Bashinsky statistically really connects with this, and that's what the vector means. It's a mathematical relationship. So basically, they've been using vector embedding in search for a very long time. And as he explains here, King Lear is closely related to the phrase Shakespeare's tragedy, or A Midsummer's Night Dream will occupy a space close in the note structure to Shakespeare comedy. And both King Lear and Midsummer's Night Dream will be located in space close to Shakespeare. But this is not a good example at all, because these are all examples of stuff that it would learn through the encyclopedia, and not stuff that it learned through crawling web pages and web resources and structuring and parsing structured data, right? So those are bad examples in that regards. Here's a better example in that on crawling this page, it learned that Josh Bashinsky is close to thought leader, innovator, TEDx speaker, philosopher on the fields of artificial intelligence and technology, SEO AGI founder, co-founder actually, and AGI on search engine optimization. Great, that's still connected to everything else that we knew about. AI is also technical, it's fairly close to SEO. Notice, however, what they didn't highlight. And this is Movera at work. Right here is an example of Movera at work. It's multi-vector. They're like, yes, he has a little connection to AI, but he's got a much bigger connection to SEO, right? And here they did this. He has developed the world's first self-aware AI prototype named Cassandra. Yes, I did years ago. You can check out the press release and check out my video, my demo I made of it. I've sadly long retired Cassandra. I've taken a lot of the ideas I did for her, and I've built them into SEO Copilot. So it can think like an SEO consultant. We're very close in SEO Copilot right now of making the High Quality Writer 3.0 version, which will get all the scores in the green first try, or in a very high percentile, like 90% of the time, I get all the scores in the green on the first try. And you'll be able to just tell it, here's my WordPress, here's my WordPress login, here's my domain name, here's the topics I want to rank for, go, and it'll work on its own. It'll find the pages you want to rank for, find the ones that are the easiest to rank for, find the ones that make the most money. It'll generate the content plan itself. It'll generate the content itself. It'll upload it itself. You just tell it, do you want 10 pages a week, 100 pages a week, 1,000 pages a week? And how many sites you want to do that on? You can have sites on autopilot, which is insane, which frees up a lot of time to be doing off-page work like this. Justin says, now you're talking. Yes, I agree. That's the holy grail. That's where SEO Copilot goes, baby. That's where AI goes. But anyway, that's a plan for the near future. So let's get back to talking about off-page SEO. So this page is the perfect example, and it's showing you exactly how the process is supposed to work. It's white hat. Somebody made it for me because I was on their podcast. Google's definitely counting it. They're counting it for the entities that you would imagine that I would want to rank for, which is the idea that I've obviously conglomerated all of my signals onto this particular entity that supposedly I want to rank for. And notice that this is not a website. This is an entity in a knowledge graph. This is not associated with a website. If I said website here, I don't know which one would come up first. This one is the one that comes up first, right? Which is interesting. And then my SEO Copilot site comes up. And then this comes up, which is fascinating. This, which is my blog, which I consider my website, is like one of the last ones that comes up because I've moved away from SEO on this. I'm talking about AI and ethics and things along that nature. And again, that's not what I'm strong in terms of all the mentions and the references in the knowledge graph, all the connections, the connecting tissue in the knowledge graph. Okay, so this is a major example of both the structure that you might not need to follow, the connective tissue of connecting to other entities that can confirm these entities, right? It's all about tertiary third-party, what's the word I'm looking for? Tertiary third-party verification. It's all about tertiary third-party verification. I just realized you can't see my email address. Here it is. And it's all about connecting words together in terms of proximity and structure, and doing that a lot, but not doing it a lot at the bottom of the mountain, although some of that structure needs to exist too, because the mountains need to sit on something. You need to also do that at the top of the mountain. I don't want just, any Tom, Dick, and Harry talking about me. I also need the New York Times talking about me and Wikipedia talking about me, if possible, or sites as close to those as possible. And this site, which apparently they think is a white hat, high quality, trusted enough site that they could use it, obviously, to just directly pluck the information out of here and put it in their knowledge graph. So you got to think about it in terms of the mountain structure. You want to be in the valleys, but you want to be on the mountain high and the valley low. You want to be on both. And there needs to be a connective tissue between all those things. A tiered structure, if you will, of talking about you in a certain way, which is appropriate, and there's a certain way to do it, which I'd be happy to go through. I don't have the time to do it on this call, but we do have extensive courses on this in Underground SEO University, to which I do have big coupons for you if when we get to the end of the broadcast in 15 minutes. Okay, so it used to be that they would only pull like, oh, Josh Brzezinski is only good for one, and then, so on the first sort, number one sort, you give back all the SEO information. Now you're getting back all the various nodes he's into, but it's on the second sort here, sort number 2. That's supposed to be a 2. Sort number 2, they're moving around pages here, moving them down, moving pages up, based on what snippet brain, which is the AI that controls what search products show up here, AI that controls this, AI that controls this, and the AI that controls the short order of where this gets moved down, this gets moved up, based on the entities that are requested, and the connective tissue connecting both of them. And they could do that now on multi-vectors, right? And this is a great example I want to show you. Now, it's a bad example. It's a great example in terms of you see this entity is now a metonym of this entity. There's a relationship. There is a categorical, it's like categorical logic as well. There's a categorical relationship between Shakespeare tragedies. What are all the Shakespeare tragedies? Well, King Lear is one of them. You also have Macbeth. You also have Hamlet, or whatever else. versus Shakespeare comedies. You have A Midsummer's Night Dream. You have Twelfth Night, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? You can also think of it as categorical. So they replaced the Colbert multi-vector model. Oh, no, sorry. It replaced the old BERT model for vector embedding and now has a new one that they're using a transformer to do, I presume, because that's BERT is one of their transformers. Now, this paper was released in 2020. As I said, they've been doing this for 5 years. This is quite old. They've been doing it for some time. And if you get that structure right, I know Crazy Dev here said that off-page SEO doesn't work. It doesn't work if you do it wrong, that's for sure. You have to make sure you have it done right. You have to make sure it looks real. It looks organic. It looks like these people. It looks like these people here decided to do this out of the kindness of their heart or the kindness of just categorizing information. You can also see about this result here. And it even tells you here, these popular topics from Google's knowledge graph about Josh Pachitsky may be helpful for your search. And how this is related to your search terms. So it tells you that you're using the knowledge graph there as well. So we call this reference rank. There's a rank of references that represents that mountaintop algorithm I told you about. But that in a nutshell is how the off-page SEO works. You need to represent that example I just showed you. You need to rinse, repeat that numerous times. And not only do you need the connective tissue pointing to you in this node, you need all the connective tissue in like kind of like an explosion structure of all coming back to this point, right? All of it in this explosion structure, all of the, like a galaxy, a spiral galaxy, all of this matter is swirling around in the gravitational pull of being pulled into the quasar, the black hole in the middle of the galaxy. That's the node, that's the entity that gets pulled and sucked together. And because it's multi-vector, there's multi entities that they're tracking for any particular one node. You want to make sure not only does Josh Pachitsky, the author, want to be connected to Josh's Apple Farm, the website, and wants to rank for red apples, the topic on a page that is all about red apples, but they want to know that they are good. They want to know they have ratings. They want to know they have reviews. They want to know that they have testimonials, that they're trusted. These are all other artifacts in this fabric of the knowledge graph that you would want to have as well. And you're like, Josh, so I do all this with hyperlinking? No, you don't. As you saw on that page, there's no hyperlinking at all. Google is fine with structured text. Google is fine with various different kinds of web artifacts. It's not about hyperlinks. And in fact, as Gary Ilya said recently, he's a Google employee, as Gary Ilya said recently, links are not even in the top 3 of ranking factors anymore. There are far more important and powerful ranking factors, mostly on-page and traffic, that are more important. And some even off-page factors are more important than a link, than a hyperlink in a traditional sense. So yeah, it's very important to kind of consider that. And there's one, well, actually, we're pretty close to the end here, so I'll leave it there. So I've got more information for you. If you have more questions about that, you want more information, let me know. I could send you a little bit more information about it. Email me at joshpachitsky@gmail.com and say, hook me up, and I can send you a little bit more information on reference rank, on Muvera and how the multi-vector works, and a little bit more information on how you might structure that kind of campaign and build out those kinds of resources. Okay, but now it's time to answer anyone's questions. So if you've got questions, by all means, throw them in the right-hand side. So right now, as promised, I'm going to get huge bigly discounts to SEO CP and or SEO University. Email me with the coupon code, and I'm making a coupon code called there. So as promised, that goes to, oh yeah, interesting. As promised, this goes to my people on the Zoom call first. So they get first crack at emailing me with the coupon code. Email me, and I'll only honor that for so long. So make sure you email me. There's only earmarked, whatever, 5 of those. So email me and with that for the discounts. Now let's get all to your questions. So if you have any questions at all, put them on the right-hand side. I'm more than happy to answer them. And I have a bunch here in the Zoom that I'll do first. Okay, so actually, first off, I have ones here from the Excel of people who joined. So I'll share the screen here. So first, Christian asked here, and I said, please help share anything that will help with our meeting. And Christian said, working SEO with more results than I can hope for. So that's good that you're getting good results. But he says, without a clear strategy, right from thinking silos and topics to execution. Great question. So I wanted, and then Angie says, nil. Don says, good work, Josh. Etienne says, good work, Josh. I wanted to answer this question about thinking to execution. So first off, I want to answer this one. So again, great question. Thanks for asking that, Christian. I want to, and I know it's, I want to try to corral your thinking about this in a direction that I think is going to be more helpful for you, and a direction that I think is going to work better for you in the future. And I know it's annoying. I feel you guys. I'm just like you are. I see the world like you guys do. I see out there all the confusing SEO stuff. And so I want to kind of help because I've been around the block for a while. For example, I wouldn't think about, and I'm not saying you're doing this, but this just was raised in your question, so I'm just going to mention it. I wouldn't think about silos. I don't even really, I do care about topics, and that's not true. I care about topics a lot, but I don't do topic silos, right? What I am not talking about here in this knowledge graph structure is building that on your own site. That's what I'm not talking about. That is a huge difference between how everyone else thinks about it. Everyone else thinks you need to be an encyclopedia online and give Google encyclopedic knowledge, and that's going to boost you. The answer that we have found in scientific testing is no. That has no more special way of boosting you. In fact, that harms you. There are more than a few ways building a silo structure, a topical hierarchy on your own site is going to hurt you in multiple ways. It's not the way to do internal linking. It's not the way to make Google think of your site. Are you selling encyclopedias? Are you just strictly an informational site? If you are, then we have another problem we need to talk about. It's called the AI overview, and it's called informing the world for free, and it's called diminishing returns, and that's a whole other show. But in 2025 SEO and beyond, we do not make informational content. We really don't care about that. We don't care about sales content either. We don't even really think of the sales search funnel really as strictly as people used to. We just fire up SEO Copilot and the AI tells us what people have failed to do SEO for, so it's easier to rank for. And it also statistically will make you more money, statistically speaking. And we prioritize those pages wherever the sales funnel they are. We don't know, we don't care. And we build from there. Because at the end of the day, that is how you think about topics. That is how you think about your structure. It is one silo structure. It is a topical cluster with one page at the top, your index page, and everything else is a mustache directly underneath it, right? Like everything else, there's the index page and there's one level deep in your site, and those are all the ranking pages. You do not build any pages that are, and they're all money pages too. More or less, they're all money pages. They're all pages you want to rank. You wanted to rank for red apples. You wanted to rank for blue apples. Sorry, you wanted to rank for red apples. You wanted to rank for blue pears. You wanted to rank for green grapes. You didn't build what is green grapes, the history of green grapes, the people over the years who have eaten green grapes and then died. Green grapes in the media. Those are not money pages. Those pages are not making you any money. Those pages are losing you money. So that's not how we structure it like that. We take that structure, and that structure goes on other people's websites. Ah, bing, a light bulb might have just come on. That also ties directly to the off-page knowledge graph flesh building that I was just talking about, right? That kind of structure, not really exactly like that, but close to that kind of structure goes on other people's sites. We don't want to be quite frankly, forgive my strong views. We don't want to be the dope informing the world for free that Google takes all our content, says thanks very much, fuck you later, and then goes away. We are the destination. We are the destination. We are the money page. We're not the middle people in the chain. We are the people who answer all the questions and have the best information in this case, I'll say at the end of the sales funnel, usually based on what the queries say. But if you pick them up higher in the sales funnel, that makes more money. Well, then that's where we'll pick them up, even though technically it's at the top of the sales funnel. But that's where we pick them up and they make the most money there because our AI says statistically there's more money here than there is here. Then we may catch them high in the sales funnel, we may catch them low in the sales funnel, but it doesn't matter because it's what SEO Copilot, the AI, analyzed 10,000 keywords and said, these are the ones that have statistically the best chance of you succeeding at SEO, is how we build it. So I'm sorry, Christian, I don't mean to rake you over the coals, but and I'm sure you folks have heard this rant from me before, but those are all SEO ideas from when Google was starting the knowledge graph and would reward sites for helping them build the knowledge graph, like in 2010. The knowledge graph is over. Like it's built. They've read all the encyclopedias. They don't need you to make an encyclopedia anymore. You are hurting yourself. You're cutting off your nose to spite your face. You are hurting yourself when you're building these useless informational pages. We need to get laser focused on the pages that have the zero difficulty to rank for. No, people have forgotten them. People haven't tried the SEO for them. People have given up on SEO. SEO's gotten fired. People have just gone away. There are tons of pages out there, more and more pages out there that the pages live. There are more and more pages out there that are bases in the apocalypse here of SEO that are wide open. The door's blowing open the wind, pong, pong. And you go inside and there's AK-47s and there's 3 years of food. And we just walk in and take it. We walk in and go, close the door, lock it. It's ours now. It's that easy because people have run away from SEO because it's just evolved too much and they can't understand it now because they haven't been testing it thoroughly like we have for the last 10 years. We fully understand it. Well, I like to think we fully understand it. We get #1 results all the time. We get into the AI overview all the time. So proof of that pudding says that we understand something about it, right? We understand to some great degree. You can never understand all of it, but I think we understand a good 90% of it right now. Very rarely is there a test that we do that I'm not like, I know exactly what will happen. Very rarely does that. It does happen though. We're good scientists. We're like, oh, look, this test didn't go the way we thought it would. Great, why is that? Then we do a whole bunch more testing. Okay, so go into SEO Copilot, go into keyword discovery, build your topics from there. Keyword discovery tells you what your topics are as much as you decide what your topics are. In fact, even more. SEO Copilot says you want to build on these topics because that's what makes money in your niche. You just have to make sure, like sometimes it gets confused between buying cars and selling cars. You're like, Josh, we sell cars, so we're not really buying cars. I mean, we do buy cars, and that really confuses SEO Copilot. Like, that's like imagine you're a car dealership. It's like, yeah, we do buy cars, but usually we do that with dealer dollars, and we don't really buy cars from people. Although we'll do trade-ins to lower the price somewhat on these cars, so we have the vastly marked up, so we have a lot of gray area to play with there. Excuse me. But we're selling cars, but sometimes the AI will get confused. We'll have buying car queries in there and selling car queries in there. You need to cut some of those out and be like, okay, I'm going to favorite these ones. We're going to rank for these ones. We're not going to rank for those ones. I'll delete them or unfavorite them. And now you can categorize them in our tool and build off that list. You need more pages, run more keyword difficulty reports, run more keywords, build more pages out. You've built out the site as big as it can be. I bet you I could find more topics that are related to selling cars. That's at least a 5,000 page website in terms of all the topics that you could possibly talk about. But you're like, Josh, we already have them all. We built them all up. Okay, great. Now all you have to do is move that to the offsite structure. I wouldn't wait until you have 5,000 pages to do the off-page structure. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that topically, there is an upper limit. So there's just no more information on this site. There's no more information on this topic that we could talk about. You should not do what they did in yesteryear and just start adding, oh, the top celebrity haircuts for 2025 on your car selling site. You don't do that, right? That's not how it works. Even though other SEOs have taught that, they're dead wrong. It's going to hurt you. They don't care. They put out content 15 years ago that people are still listening to. They don't care. What do they care about? I care. So that's how kind of that works with the off-page stuff as well. All right, let me go to the tube views here, see if they have any more questions. If you guys have any questions here on the YouTubes, by all means, go ahead and ask them. No more questions here. Awesome. Okay, so now let's start here with questions. Christian says, AI search results are getting bigger right now, so a lot of pages won't be visited. Indeed, he's talking about the AI overview. What is your perspective on SERPs? Do you think the old PageRank algorithm is working as in the old versions? Yep, as I said at the beginning of this broadcast, I definitely do. So above AI answer to kill every further search and old also SERPs underneath it. Quite possibly, yes. Getting in the AI overview is probably going to be important moving forward in SEO. No one knows for sure what's going to happen, but I see the trajectory and I see the AI overview being used more. Now, if you guys are like, what the heck is the AI overview? Let me show you. So if I do a search for this, Kitchen Reno Granite Bay, this is the AI overview here. Okay, and as you can see, here's a site I put in the AI overview, boom. And they're using the image I created for, that's not a photograph, I created this. This is the image I created for the AI overview. And my the price that I specified is the one being used. And you can see where they get the information. You can also see what entity, sub-entity in this entity search of the main questions that they extract out of the knowledge graph, like what is a kitchen reno, how much do they cost? Here's the main question. This is apparently what people really want to know. When they type in this, the query interpretation is getting down to this node and a few other nodes of information. That's interesting. Yeah, oh, okay, interesting. Also, they think that this is an important question, is we have the professional team to help bring your dream kitchen to life. Do you have a professional team? Do you need a professional team to do a kitchen reno in Granite Bay? So yeah, this is the AI overview. Sometimes they even put in sites here that you can click on and get more results. This is where you want to be. This right here is the new SERPs, and it's just changing the 10 blue links, getting into the short list here for Snippet Brain, and then the short list of Snippet Brain gets in the short list for who's going to be mentioned here in the AI overview. And hopefully on these kinds of things, they might even give you a link you can click. They might even give you a link that can be clicked as well. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But this is great. You can click on this, and then you get our site here. That's from Condor Builders. You can click that and move on to that. Actually, this guy's not my client anymore. So do not go to this page and think that you're going to learn Josh's secrets by going to this page. He's not my client anymore. There's some huge mistakes that they're doing here that I would never do. Some big mistakes, but yeah, like this font here, you can't even read it, but anyway. But here you can see the information that they thought was important as well. And you can see here's where they get the actual information. These are the information that the experts say this should cost. So you're starting to see a lot about how it all structures together, how it all fits together. But to answer the question, this is the AI overview. That's the AIO. What is the AI mode? The AI mode is the AI mode that I don't have access to in Canada, sadly, but it's basically the same information that gets fed into the AI overview. It's basically an AI overview that you have a chat box here that you can ask it follow-up questions. It's a different kind of interface. Instead of asking follow-up questions here, you ask them follow-up questions here. And instead of having to use keyword ease, you use AI chatbot ease. There's a certain way of talking to a chatbot, just like there's a certain way that we learned to talk to Google back in the late 90s. And that's what you're using there. And so the question was, what do I see this cutting into Google? I see it cutting into Google completely. The 10 blue links will always be here, and there will always use their algorithms to put them there. Think of it this way. Google has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars. What am I talking about? Hundreds of thousands. That's big money for me. Google has spent hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars, since 1997, 1998, in their research as to how to make the best knowledge graph engine, how to make the best search engine, how to make the best, most truthful, most safe, most factual search engine possible. And they are not going to just give it to ChatGPT, an equivalent of ChatGPT, and say, go nuts. Because that hallucinates all over the place. You cannot trust ChatGPT out of the box, right? You cannot trust ChatGPT. You cannot trust the GPTs that people build in it. It's hallucinating all over the place, and it doesn't have any magical connection to truth the way Google does, because they've checked in the knowledge graph, they've verified facts, they've seen what the experts say the price is and consolidated on that price, for example. They have truth TM built in, and it's pretty truthy. In terms of a grade of truthiness, I'd say it's a good 8.5 to 9.5 out of 10 of truthiness. They do a pretty good job at Google. Protecting against hallucinations in the right way, which is making sure only the truthful information gets into the AI chatbot to begin with. And that's what I'm saying is going to happen, because that's the only way it can happen and work, is that they're going to use the 10 blue links, and Snippet Brain is going to maybe take a couple of the results on page 2 as well that have really good sub-entity information like the price, but everything else sucks. No one references them, no one rates them, no one talks about them. But they got the right price, and so we're gonna use that as a piece of evidence to say, okay, well, at least they got the price right, and they're kind of pulled up for that reason. And they'll get shortlisted for that reason, and the shortlist will get into the AIO or the AIM, the AI overview or the AI mode for those reasons, even though they only got to page 2. So that's another really good thing that people aren't considering. You don't always necessarily have to get to page 1 now to get on the short list, to get on the Snippet Brain shortlist, like the second SERP that's on the right side. That's the SERP that's informing the AI overview or the AI mode. So does it kill search? No, to use your words, Christian. It doesn't kill search. It just changes the format of how the 10 blue links are shown. Instead of an unordered list, now they're shown in a comma-separated list in the top paragraph, right? People still have to click through to find a page. And now, because it's got your information, that's good quality information, now they're going to be looking through and saying, okay, who's they quoted me a price of 40 to 100 grand. Now I'm going to go find who has that price, and I'm going to click through, and I'm going to buy the services from them. If they go on your page and everyone else says a kitchen reno in Granite Bay should be 40 to 100 grand, and you say it starts at 150 and goes up from there, they're going to go back, right? So there's going to be an interesting cosmic, sure. There's going to be an interesting cosmic interplay. I don't know why I'm saying cosmic. I got cosmic on the brain. Maybe because the Empire Strikes Back thing there. There's going to be an interesting interplay of information of the AI informing them, giving them a direct link. Sometimes there's a link directly in the top paragraph that people click on, and that gives huge 80 to 90% click through to your site. So I hope Google goes that way. I hope what Google does is they float links in that top paragraph, and there'll be a paid link with a star beside it, but then you put your links in there as well for organic. That's what I hope happens. And whoever gets that spot is going to get huge chunks of traffic, bigly chunks of traffic is what they're going to get. But we're going to have to see. Justin says in response, Google's chasing the GPT, Anthropic, et cetera, to keep users in Google. So they are happy to screw you over to hold market search, true, and keep their user base in Google, true. Build lots of links, as that seems to be helping us get the all LLM results, including Google AI SERPs. Interesting, Justin, that you say that. Yeah, we're able to get a lot of LLMs to rank us as well, but we don't give two shits. We don't really care. The last time I looked at the stats, Google's search share has gone down by, are you ready? Are you ready to hear how much Google's search share has gone down from 90%, approximately 90% of all global searches? Are you ready to know how much it's gone down across the board because of all these new LLMs? drum roll, less than a percentage point. That's how far. The stats I looked at, they're still at approximately tilde 89 point whatever, 4 something search share of the entire world. By far, ChatGPT and Perplexity and Anthropic and all these ones here, barely, yes, you're right, Justin. They are 10 years out thinking about it. That's true. Barely has any of these things cut into Google search share. And think about it. If you ever go to buy, I don't know if any of you buy, if you buy something from ChatGPT, you're crazy because it hallucinates way too much. But quite frankly, ChatGPT is not there yet. Perplexity is not there yet, and they may never be. This is Google's race to lose. They're so far ahead of everybody else. I don't see any reason why they would lose, but this is Google's race to lose, right? So, and right now, by far, still the only game in town for the vast majority of people around the world, not nerds like us, but the vast majority of people around the world are using Google still to make any buying decisions, any local decisions, any map search decisions. That's where the money still is, and that's why we focus on it. And we focus also in Underground S University. We have all the ranking factors for the second biggest search engine on the planet. Do you know what the second biggest, by far, by orders of magnitude, by orders of 10 times magnitude, how big the second search engine is compared to everybody else? Is it Bing? No. Bing has like 1% of search share. It's YouTube. YouTube, by far, another Google product, is the biggest search engine after Google. So we have done a lot of testing in YouTube and have a good search, good SEO for YouTube as well. So yes, we're watching it very carefully. In the future, things could change. Perplexity could gain share, ChatGPT could gain share, but we're so early in this, guys. Guys, like I said, I started this in the mid-90s in the dot-com boom, and I was doing this before there was even a Firefox browser. There was or an IE browser, didn't even exist. Microsoft wasn't even talking about it. Microsoft was still putting out operating systems. They just put out Windows 95, right? And we're so early, we have not seen the killer app yet. We have not seen the killer app for AI yet. We're not even close. 5 years at best, 10 years probably, until, you know, we have like ChatGPT buys Perplexity and Perplexity buys Anthropic, and then Google buys Anthropic, and then I don't know, then Netflix buys Google, and then we have the Netflix AI browser. Like there's going to be big, huge swings made. There's going to be big changes that are going to happen before everyone thought AOL and MySpace were going to be the things. And then they were bought and changed, and Yahoo was going to be the thing. And they were bought and changed, and now you see the landscape is totally different and had been for 20 years after that. We are still so far beyond the war period that's going to start. We're so far early to that we can't even say what's going to happen. It's going to be major, major changes. But we're watching it closely, and all of my information is good for the next 5 years that I just told you, I would say. Okay. Christian asks, he says, in my opinion, it's nothing new. Content is king, just in a new way. Build up your topical authority, clean up your traces, check OpenAI without web research and with web research to get faulty entries in check. Yeah, that's a pro tip. That's one way. The web research can help you for sure, not hallucinate. Check OpenAI, Gemini's, Perplexity pages, they search and use. Again, I don't, you can play with those guys, but I don't really care about those guys really right now for SEO. Justin shared his tools and that he uses for SEO, which is interesting, fascinating. So I don't know if you want, I'm not going to read out this list. There's a big long list, but very interesting. A lot of those I agree with. Some of those I agree with for sure. Like this one I agree with for sure. You're going to need an indexer for that too. But you have too many of them here. Quite frankly, you're wasting money, in my opinion, Justin. You could save money. You don't need all these different ones that you have mentioned here. And you definitely don't need, for content, you definitely don't need these ones here. I would definitely say that ZimWriter, Machined AI Text Builder, in my humble opinion, obviously, are not as good as SEO Copilot. But I've beat that dead horse enough, I'm sure. All right, guys, so I think that's all the questions that we have here. in the Omega Indexer. Yes, I recommend that one as well. I use Omega Indexer as well. It also is building some of that structure, right? Because that's how it gets it indexed. Let me quickly go here to the YouTubes. And all right, here, for those of you who've watched to the end, here is the there is the coupon code for hugely discounts into SEO Copilot and to SEO University for my listeners and for people who've watched and listened to the video. And then here as well, I will give you my email address again to be able to get the discounts for the people in the Zoom here too. All right, guys. Well, that's about it. I've been talking for longer than an hour. I'm trying to keep these to an hour so that people don't have to watch for a very, very long time. SEO is super exciting. It's super exciting in 2025. I'm more excited now than I've been for quite some time because, like I said, all your bases are belong to us, right? All these bases have been left with the door open. They've ran out because they thought, oh, this is too hard. I don't want to do this anymore. I quit. And they got out. Well, for us with our AI tools who know how to do this stuff with our AI knowledge, we're just kids in a candy store right now. As you heard, Christian is getting good SEO. I know Justin's getting good SEO as well. I know a few other people who are here are getting good SEO. My group, Underground SEO University, is getting tons of good SEO. I mean, just really quickly, I can brag about it for a quick second here. If you go to bit.ly/SEO proof, you're gonna get to see these kinds of examples here of people succeeding at SEO. Or here is the perplexity. Here's our perplexity example. Not that we really care, because again, no one uses it, but here's all the examples of people giving testimonials, references, saying, hey, here's us getting into the AI overview. And if I go back far enough, position 11 from nowhere in a day. Is there any other SEO group or any other SEO tool that can get from position nowhere to 11 in a day? And that was from March 21st of this year, right? We know getting big, huge boosts like this with SEOU and SEO Copilot, local results as well. We have a ton of results proving that we know how to do what it is we're doing here. This was completely built up with SEO Copilot, this one here, and using a little bit of SEO University knowledge as well. So I don't know, I could go on and on. We have thousands of those, but we're the real deal. If you want to know how to do SEO, we're the people to contact. Email me. I got huge discounts for folks who listen to my, to show the love for people who listen to my broadcast. I've got huge discounts for you guys. All right, guys. Well, that's where I'm going to leave it. Thanks again for listening and watching. If you have any questions, if you just have a 5-minute SEO questions, email me. I have no problem at all answering a 5-minute SEO question. I'd be more than happy to just give you some advice. If you want to get a little bit more information about the linking I was talking about, not the linking, but the off-page references, which could include links, doesn't necessarily have to, please email me. I'd love to help you out. Justin says, thank you, brother. You're welcome. Christian says, thanks. You're welcome, my friends. I give you heart emojis. Email me if you have any questions, guys. And otherwise, have yourselves a great weekend. Have yourselves a great summer. And remember, SEO isn't dead. It's never been more alive. Now's the time to stroll in and take their base. All their base belong to us. Danielle says, thanks, Josh. You're welcome, Danielle. Heart emoji for you as well. Send me an email, and I'd be happy to help you out and sit you off on your SEO journey as well. I'm sure there's ways we can boost your SEO, even if it's working really well. We can make it